Could Shaq ever beat Wilt Chamberlain and vice versa? That is the question that so many people ask when they talk about the greatest centers of all time. Let's get down, let's check out the two main differences between these players and if they could even compete against each other. So the one thing about Wilt Chamberlain was his ability to be super athletic, and he was also much taller and bigger than most other players at that time. He was also able to run the floor extremely well, and of course finish really strong too. However, he didn't always finish strong. See, there's times where he would get the ball super close to the rim, and instead of dunking it on players, he would do finger rolls. Now, the reason behind this, he mentioned later on in his career, that he didn't want to break players' hands. See, if you're about to block somebody as strong as Wilt Chamberlain, the dude could bench press more than anybody else ever in the NBA, and what he would do is he would just do a finger roll, like we would see in most cases. Even here, these were not very massive dunks either. And he would go for a lot of tips as well to get those baskets. Wilt Chamberlain, however, was a very good ball handler and passer in the full court, and he was able to turn defensive rebounds into quick baskets super easily because he's able to get that ball outletted super quick and run the floor as well. And his passing ability in the low post to players who are cutting towards the basket is extremely impressive. See, the thing with Wilt Chamberlain wasn't the fact that he was just an overpowering scorer, because he was, but he really wanted to fill the stat sheet. He wanted to get every rebound and every assist. And by being able to do these dribble handoffs in the low post to his teammates, it was really effective to get himself easy assists. However, when he was in the low post, he didn't exactly bang at all against the defensive centers. There's a reason for that. See, the reason is, even though this is a defensive clip, you were not allowed to make much contact or even push players like this way back when Wilt Chamberlain was playing. And you could definitely not put your body into the defensive player back in Wilt Chamberlain's time either. Now, in today's game, this would be a fantastic play, because here you are taking away the defensive player's ability to defend by here wrapping your foot on the opposite side of their leg. This is totally legal because you're not taking their area. They are now intruding on your area, and this is such a fantastic move. Obviously, you have to be as big as Shaq to be able to move David Robinson like that, but this is a fantastic move. And Shaq was even on record saying that if somebody wanted to try and block him when he's going for a dunk, he's willing to break their hand on the rim, while Wilt Chamberlain didn't want to do that. And Shaq also in the low post did a lot of fake passes, which allowed him to get a lot of space between himself and his defenders, which then allowed him to take one dribble and just absolutely smash it down. And believe me, you do not want to go up and try to block that, because if your hand gets between that ball and the rim and you've got a 350-pound beast trying to break your hand on that rim, you are not going to be having a very strong career for very long. So that's why he was able to get away with dunks like that. Shaq was also very good at sealing his players. So here, instead of trying to post up that defender, what he does here is he's able to spin, use his elbow to seal, and then that gets that player on this side. Now, any lob pass to Shaq, especially because of his height, is going to definitely get to him, and he's able to get up and, of course, dunk because of that. And we have to remember, in Shaq's prime, he was actually a pretty good ball handler. We can see this right here. He's dribbling with his head up. He's really looking to make those passes, but he's able to really go end to end on that court, and he's able to finish. Even these hesitation, in and out, spin move dribbles is just absolutely amazing. Like, Shaq's prime, if he could do that, if he stayed the same weight,
it's 10 o'clock.
But if he could stay the same weight as he did in his prime throughout his entire career, and maybe even a couple of pounds shorter or less, he would be just an absolute killer. Because that footwork right here, watch this, he gets that ball in the low post, he then spins on that inside foot. Why is that important? Well, so many players will move this foot over here, and Shaq did this at times too, but if you really want to catch your defender off guard, do not move that foot over here. spin on it, get your shoulder in the direction that you're about to spin towards, get it well past your body, and use that back of your shoulder right there to get that seal on that player. And when you do that, you're going to be very successful, especially if that player is trying to push on that shoulder at the same time. And you can then get to the rim and they're not going to be able to do anything. And because Shaq does moves like this, these seal spin moves to get those dunks, I really believe that he could still play very aggressive like that in Wilt Chamberlain's time. In Wilt Chamberlain's time, you would still see players defensively playing aggressive like this, and because of Shaq's size, he would be able to get that ball to the rim. But when you're comparing Wilt Chamberlain, who's able to take these fadeaway style shots away from bigger defenders, like this that we see here as well, I'm gonna say right now that that would be a very tough guard for Shaq. We actually seen a very similar style player as Wilt Chamberlain called Yao Ming in Shaq's time. Yao Ming was very good at fading away, doing those fadeaway post shots, and Shaq had issues with Yao Ming. Now, I'm not saying Yao Ming was even better than Shaq, because that's nowhere close. Shaq is clearly the best center of our modern history of basketball. However, if you're comparing Wilt Chamberlain to Shaq, it was two different eras. You technically cannot compare them. However, I would love to see that game someday, maybe someday 100 years into the afterlife, but either way, that would be a very interesting game to see, and I would actually say that Shaq might just actually win because of his strength and size. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.